Okay, so the second update for the car. Give you a bit of an idea of what we're going to be doing and what's currently on the system. A few changes to note from the last video. I've reinstalled the idle assist valve. Basically, when it was really cold, the car was having a tendency to stall. This has fixed that problem, but fortunately at the moment it's just terminating here. It's a bit ghetto, but we'll fix that when the supercharger's back on. Okay, so apart from that, another little update, which I haven't shown anyone yet, is it's now running error catchers here and over there. There's the strike pin. Basically done that because my plan at some stage is to remove this whole slam panel and create my own, because this just gets in the way of absolutely everything when I'm trying to work on the car. It's a right royal pain. So getting rid of this is going to require you to sort of tie the bonnet down somehow, and this is how I've done it. Still need a little bit of fettling going on there, but they should be pretty good. It's a bit difficult to show people down here, but I've got an aluminium radiator, however you pronounce it, I always get that wrong. And what you can see in there is basically an aluminium extension. The bottom edge of that on the left side is basically interfering, or was interfering, with the Rotrex joiner, and it was rubbing against it, it was touching, it was something I really wanted to change. So as you can see, the two connections on the right hand side, they'll be going, which has got this little loop connection here, as you can see. Now if you look in here, or you won't be able to tell, but there's basically a bit of a bolt in there. So these two, although they're connected together, don't actually connect. So that's why I'm getting rid of that. Also, this is a bit of a pain on my setup with the intake pipe. So that'll be giving me more clearance there as well. I'm still going to be running this, as obviously this helps quite a bit. Also, one side note, the housing for this is plastic, so you need to be very careful, and I had to cut these down to get this back in. So these are known to break pretty easily, so just be careful if you ever touch that thing. Okay, so quick update on pulling the car apart. I don't think I've shown this before at all, but this bar, it's like the crash structure bar. All the Rotrex kits I've ever seen get rid of this bar because the intercooler, it would go straight through the middle of the intercooler, and I wasn't willing to give up that kind of safety aspect. So what I've done doesn't have to be particularly brilliant, because obviously if you have a crash, this is going to push back onto the chassis. But what you can see here is that I've basically welded some legs on and extended it out. There's quite a lot of room in the bumper, and that basically means that you've still got your crash protection. Because if you have an accident, you want this, because it's going to be the frontal impact structure. You know, a radiator or an intercooler, it's just not going to do the same thing. It's just going to punch straight into the engine, and then everything that Honda designed to make it crumple properly is obviously not going to work. On that note, this is where the intercooler bolts to for the upper mount. The intercooler obviously feet goes through these holes. This is the old air conditioning hole, and as you can see, I've actually had to cut, I don't know if I can give you a better angle, but as you can see, I've had to cut some of the fins out. I think that's probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches either side, a little bit more this side, basically to get the boost pipes around. That's the only way you can do it. I suppose you could run a smaller radiator, but yeah, I mean, this does a very good job, especially with these. They basically divert the air, because if you can imagine air coming in here, if you have a big hole here, which you have to ignore this bit here because there's normally a boost pipe there, but if you have a big hole here, it's just going to go path of least resistance around the side, whereas this is actually forcing it. And actually, if you think about it, you're getting a high pressure zone here where all the air is coming in, and it has to flow through the radiator. Seems to have served me pretty well so far. But yeah, that's basically the radiator with no bumper on. So today we're going to be changing some things on the intake manifold. I'll give you a tour around it as I've already made the modifications. So this is obviously not standard. This is a 3-inch extension, and underneath here, I'll pick it up, that's the intake air temperature sensor with 2 bolts to hold it in. Obviously that's some support. That is the blow-off valve or recirc vac tube. If we come down here, this has been drilled and tapped today. This has been tapped for a 1/8 inch NTP fitting. That'll be going to the fuel pressure regulator, so it's all hidden underneath the manifold. So that's pretty much it for under the side. Oh, I don't actually have a idle air control valve on this car. It's been removed. So come back to the top, another support here. This is so that this doesn't crack. It has in the past, but it's been triple welded around here now, and these supports added. So we come across, we've got the new location for the brake booster valve or brake booster pipe. This goes up to the brake master cylinder. This goes into the crankcase. This is the original breather. So there's a one-way valve on it, as well as this thing here. So we don't want boost going into crankcase or into the brake booster. And if we come across, that's pretty much all standard there. I mean, I've removed what this is on this side. This used to be here. I've taken that off. These are where the fuel rail bolts to. This is the idle air assist valve. This is where it goes. When this is bolted up, obviously this is all flat and sealed. See these little holes here? That's where it delivers air to each cylinder. So each cylinder gets its own little jet of air from the idle air assist valve. And basically this is the bracket that's holding the return fuel hose. So that's pretty much the manifold as it stands at the moment. Got some other little bits and changes we're going to do, so let's get to those. Okay, so the other thing that I'm doing is I'm upgrading or changing the cooling system slightly. This isn't the final installation of it, it's just a bit of a test really. Unfortunately these are a little bit too short and I'll be replacing these with some silicone possibly, but that's the K-tuned swivel thermostat housing going into the radiator, and basically what I'm trying to do is make as much gap as possible in here for the intake tube. The previous setup was touching ever so slightly. I didn't really like it, so just tried to make it as small as possible really. Unlike the standard car, I'm running my thermostat in here. I find this makes the car warm up a lot quicker, and it also stays at 82 degrees a lot longer. It's very stable, so that's what I'm running. As you can see, I've cut this off basically because I'm now running aero catchers. I've also moved my reservoir bottle, which used to live in the wing in there. It's now actually down here. What I've done is I've made some brackets, as you can see. There's another one there for the Rotrex bottle, and that's really quite neatly in there and out of the way. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you like these videos. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and hope to see you on the next one.